Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. In today's video, I thought we could just have a look at the new dev blog that was just posted on the forums. They talk about all of the mistakes and blunders that they made in the November update, and I thought some clarification on some of the issues would do us all a lot of good. So let's just get right into it. I'll read over it, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Greetings, adventurers. Thank you for your feedback and questions since our third edition of Update on Current Issues dev blog. We continue collecting your feedback and questions to find trends of active issues you, our community, are interested in learning more about. We appreciate everyone's interest into our communication and where we're going with New World, and we want to continue being transparent and communicative on how we plan to reach our goals and address outstanding issues. So for stability and performance in game, we released an update today that we believe improves stability and are working feverishly on a fix for performance. The Void Gauntlet introduced a problem with status effects where they are using approximately 10 times the bandwidth they should, resulting in performance issues when multiple status effects not isolated to the Void Gauntlet are fired off. This impacts war, invasion, and any area groups of players are using weapons with status effects. We've isolated the issue and are confident we'll have a fix released to players once it has been thoroughly tested. Not catching this prior to release was a mistake on our part and a net result of trying to go too fast. Going forward, we strive to improve the quality of our releases. More details on release timing will be made available as soon as we have validated the fixes internally. Lack of transparency on penalties and appeals. Understanding the messaging received when an account has had a penalty applied can be difficult, and we realize that the categories are too broad and may not provide enough information to players as to what they did that triggered the penalty. There are some steps we are going to take to address this. First, we will be publishing some support articles that better address and provide insight into the categories and how these categories are tied to the Code of Conduct in terms of services. This will also provide insight into the penalties, duration, and the appeal process. Next, we are looking at the appeal process to provide more timely and better communication from acknowledgement that the appeal has been received and the time expected for a reply. Next, we are revamping the penalty messaging that is seen in game. The goal will be to provide additional clarity into the player actions that violate the Code of Conduct. So that would be because of all the complaints on the forum about being wrongfully banned. Moderation, both in-game and community spaces. Regardless of where you're participating, whether it's in-game or through our community spaces like the forums or Discord, we heavily enforce our Code of Conduct to ensure a positive and constructive environment. So this is where they're just wanting people to submit more reports about people who are violating the Code of Conduct. Let's look at the PTR. This month we launched our first version of the public test realm, and we wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for all your support and valuable feedback. It has been exciting to see the number of players actively providing feedback and reporting bugs both in-game and through the forums. Moving forward, we see the public test realm as an important tool in our development process, and you will continue to see us invest and improve this public testing process. We want to acknowledge that we have heard your observations, especially in terms of the fire staff and ice gauntlet nerfs, the buffs to Great Axe, and the reticle design of our ranged weapons. While you won't always see immediate changes that reflect the feedback we receive, this doesn't mean it's being ignored, or that you won't see changes made in future that address particular concerns surfaced by our PTR testers. Some changes like weapon balance and tuning are things that we will constantly be monitoring and adjusting as New World matures. Other changes may need additional time for development and testing. When it comes to weapon balance in particular, we will regularly adjust and tune these numbers as we gather and review your feedback. Paired with the game data, especially with the introduction of new weapons, weapon balance will always be in flux. You can rely on us to continue listening, observing, and adjusting accordingly. In our upcoming releases, you can expect to see more changes that reflect the feedback we have received from you, our community. We will continue to seek out opportunities for you to provide early patch feedback and help us shape the future of New World. Okay, here's the part that everybody's been wanting to hear about, the undocumented changes and updates. We are sorry that a number of undocumented changes made it into 1.1 into the Void update. This update includes many changes that the team made months ago before we branched our launch build. This long time frame and the size of the patch led to a number of changes that we missed in the release notes. This wasn't intentional, and we are working to improve our processes to ensure more accurate release notes in future. Below is a list of the main changes that were either unintentional or not documented. Decreased loot quality and amount from elite chests. This is an unintentional bug that was introduced in 1.1 patch. We are investigating this issue and working on a fix, and we'll release it soon as it's ready. Okay, so the decreased loot was a bug. Removed horticultural gear from the game. This was also an unintentional change. Remove double luck from Weaver's Knot. This was an intentional change that we missed in patch notes. We never intended for items to have double luck, and by design, items should not have multiples of any perk. Elite point of interest difficulty tuning. A number of point of interests were increased in difficulty. We increased the difficulty of bosses, increased the number of enemies, increased the level of some enemies, and adjusted the placement of some elite chests. These were intentional changes that we missed in the patch notes. We wanted to increase the challenge of these endgame areas. As part of this tuning pass, we will also adjust some paths that allow players to attack enemies from safe areas or skip enemies. As a part of this tuning pass, the named enemies in Ebonscale Reach had their difficulty incorrectly increased too much, and we will be toning them down in a future patch. The Darkness Membranes in Great Cleave and Morningdale also had their difficulty incorrectly increased, resulting in enormous HP pool values, and we will be adjusting them down in a future patch also. Removed Elemental Quintessence as rewards from gathering elemental creatures. This was an intentional change that we made as a result of the number of these enemies and their spawn rates being much higher than when we originally designed the rewards for the creature. Our goal was to create better balance between these creatures and the elemental stones and plants as sources of motes. Reduce the amount of wildwood required to make glittering ebony. This was an intentional change we made to make the cost of glittering ebony in line with other epic crafting materials such as Asmodean and Phoenix Weave. Player-to-player trading is now possible in expeditions. This was an intentional quality of life improvement we forgot to document. Players can now see which trophies they have equipped from the bio screen. This is another intentional quality of life improvement we missed in the notes. Replaced Everfall Well and Morningdale Statue with a fountain. This was an intentional change that was made in preparation for an upcoming player event. Now let's see what they have to say about the crafting. Crafting and trade skills. Every trade has its importance to the overall item economy within New World. At the highest level of trade skill mastery, you're capable of crafting some of the most powerful items in the game. Pursuing the materials and crafting those items are an endgame activity that are beneficial for players who are looking to craft the perfect item, as well as create high-value items to be traded. We want most of the things that you can craft at a trade skill cap to be able to be used by players who didn't craft those things, but we also like that some things are just for folks who are capable of making them. As we continue development, we will look for opportunities throughout the range of trade skill levels and endgame. And now their stance on add-ons. This will be the mini-map. Our overall goal on any form of add-on is simple. It should not provide any advantage over a player using the regular game client. That means an add-on can reorganize or present the information normally displayed in a different way, or provide information that normally would require a different UI view to achieve. The idea with the map add-on is they fall under the latter category. We of course have an in-game map, and all they should be doing is displaying that map in a different way. We are working to see if we can establish a simple and secure way to publish data for add-on use. This would allow them to add functionality not currently available, gold selling, players, and bots. Based on the changes we've made in previous patches, reports of gold sellers are down 70% from previous volume, so substantial progress has been made. But this will always be a battle. As these bad actors adjust, so will we. We also are identifying and banning the spam accounts of gold sellers more quickly overall. We are banning at a higher rate against the bots who supply golden materials and are expanding that weekly. We'll continue to be diligent on this front while looking for further ways to prevent bots from intruding on your gameplay experience. Please continue submitting reports of players in game and use the correct report reason for quickest resolution. An explanation on housing points. Each house is assigned a high score to determine which house is shown to the public. Your house's score, the scores of any group members who also live in that plot, and the scores of the top 20 houses are shown on the house enter screen. The total score is based off of two factors: territory standing and decoration score. The territory standing component of the score is the standing a player has gained in the territory where the house is since the last time the scores were calculated. If the score is calculated every 2 days, it would be the standing the player gained in the last 2 days on their house's territory. The decoration score is calculated from the items placed within a player's house. In the November update, we resolved an issue where housing points spiked after players first set up their decoration after the first judging of the house's scores should be functioning as intended. Down the road, we are working on implementing some UI features to help better demonstrate the scoring process. The Harvester gear set. In our latest update, we made a mistake that treated all tiers of the in-game horticultural harvesting gear as future content and unintentionally removed them from the game. This is an embarrassing mistake that is squarely our fault, and we apologize to our players who have had their harvesting and trading disrupted as a result. We are working quickly to correct this and replace the lost items. targeting the next patch. Any player who had ever earned a single piece of this gear will be rewarded with a full set of Bind on Equip horticultural gear at the highest tier that was ever earned. The gear score for the replacement gear will be at the highest limit allowed per tier. This includes all horticultural gear earned, whether you received it as a loot drop, it was traded to you, or purchased it from the trading post. The item will be distributed directly to players and show up as an armor chest that will deliver the full set of gear. Okay, so according to this, guys, we will be getting item level 600 horticultural sets if we had a single piece of item level 600. So that's pretty good. Lost housing and compensation. On October 28th, we addressed an issue where players lost their houses and potentially housing items. While we provided a fix to prevent players from losing their houses and housing items in the future, we were delayed in providing compensation for those who lost their houses. This is being now addressed in the November monthly release. Players who lost their houses during world restarts will have their houses restored if they are eligible to own a house in the settlement. If they cannot own another house, the house cost will be refunded and the furnishings returned to their storage. Please visit the settlement to start the restoration or refund. Thank you for reading our 3rd edition of updates on the current issues. We appreciate your continued support while we strive to make Eternum your in-game home. We're going to go take a bit of a holiday break, but we'll see you next week. See you in Eternum. Okay, guys. It wasn't as long as the last one, but they covered some really important topics. So I'm glad we finally got some clarification on the horticultural sets, and we will be receiving an entire set that is set to the highest item level of the single piece we lost. So that's good. I'm still hopeful that a lot of the stuff will be addressed that should be addressed. The only issue that I had while reading this is that they continue to say that they're going to slow down and they're going to take their time and they're going to work harder for the next update. But I mean, they said that before the last update and they said that after the update before that, where the mistakes were made. I think the biggest problem that we're starting to see is that the team isn't really working as a team, and what really would help the game is that they communicate better internally, because you have certain dev teams or groups within dev teams that are making changes and then not reporting them to the community managers or not reporting them to the team leaders. In any event, let's just hope that dealing with all of these problems that arise after the updates are finally going to get through to them and make them slow down and take their time, fix what needs to be fixed. Don't add any more weapons, don't add any more systems until we have what we have working properly. Anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts. You can let me know what you think in the comments. And until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.